All right, shalom, 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 Israel, and shalom, everybody on the live. We're going to kick it off with today's topic, like we mentioned earlier, a rebuke on so-called Halloween and going over the high holy days as well. All right, so let's kick it off with the classic in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1. All right, let's kick it off with the classic in the book of Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, the first verse. Right, everybody knows it's October 31st, right? Which is the world's one of the world's top holidays, man. Babylon, besides what Christmas and Thanksgiving, 4th of July comes up there, but Halloween is kind of over that, man. Everybody knows about Halloween. They prepare for Halloween in the summertime. It's in the month of July. You can go in the stores and they'll see the pumpkins and the ghouls and the goblins and all manner of wickedness in these stores, man.
They got it's called the Halloween store that pop up. They got the Halloween store that pops up once a year around September, early September, and they make so much money during that time they're able just to pop up one time a year, act like nothing's going on, right?
Yeah, you Jakes, man, you spend. If we had to pull the stats, I think they give almost like $5 to $10 million a year to the so-called white man in candy, costumes, and festivities. And they have parties, competitions, Halloween pumpkin patch competitions. Who grow the biggest pumpkin?
Best costume.
Yeah, best costume. People get drunk, wickedness. And that's just what the average people of Babylon do. Now, these guys on the higher up, real quick, let's go to Ephesians 6 and 12. These guys on the higher up, and they get into more wickedness than that, huh? Right, let's go to Ephesians 6 and 12.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Right. Spiritual wickedness in high places. That's speaking about these demons and principalities that rule the earth. Right? The so-called Illuminati, the elite families, these aristocracies that govern the earth, they deal with a high amount of sorcery and witchcraft, human sacrifices, right? While people are going out trick-or-treating, they actually eating babies, drinking baby blood, harvesting organs. And people are like, oh, I can't believe that. America wouldn't do that. This is what goes on behind the scenes, man. These are the things that happen while you out there buying a Snickers bar or putting a razor blade in somebody's candy, man. Right. And they do that. They used to do that back in the day, So let's go to Jeremiah 10:1. Spiritual wickedness in high places, meaning demons, principalities, right? And they have made man. You had a question, brother?
I was just going to say that happened to my mother actually with the razor blades in the apple.
Oh yeah.
When she was young, they happened to my mom.
You see that they used to do that, man, because people want to. It's a violent day, man. And if we had the stream here, we'll be able to pull it up. But when you go to the origins of Halloween, I encourage brothers to look that up too, right? Everything has an origin, right? It started out there in Europe. Of course, that would be the origin of ghouls and goblins and demons from the so-called white man out there in Europe, and he brought it over here. All right, and I have the video. You just gonna pull it up?
The origin of Halloween?
No, I got it right here. I went into it earlier.
Samhain.
Yeah, Salakia. I'll pull it up. Bear with me. And then we can go to Jeremiah 10:1 too.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, Con.
This is fine. Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
Right. Don't learn the way of the heathen, huh? Who's the heathen of other nations? What are their ways? Sin. Don't learn their ways. Learn the laws and commandments. Learn how to serve the Most High. Right? They teach you in school what Halloween's about. You go trick-or-treating. They help you draw the pumpkins with the eyes in it. You carving out pumpkins, the jack-o'-lanterns. Your parents teaching you about that. You got Jake, 35 years old, still going trick-or-treat. So I'm doing it for the kids. Brother, you doing that for you. It's always for the kids. you know, and then the parents, they be taking all the damn candy, man, from the kids. It be 18-year-olds robbing 6-year-olds of their candy. You know, madness going on, man. You got people, why that's happening, like I said, doing human sacrifices, or spiritual cooking. You know, brothers heard of spiritual cooking? Yeah. Spiritual cooking is when these witches and warlocks, they take human excrement, human semen, urine, breast milk, and they mix it in the foods that they make, and they'll write certain spells with that. Like they'll take the liquid and they'll kind of paint it on the wall and put spells on people. Oh, good.
I think didn't Jay-Z fund the lady that was doing that?
Yeah, Jay-Z funded it, and Hillary Clinton's one of her best friends.
That's what I was going to say. Her name is some Abramovich.
Yeah. That sounds familiar. All right, so that's what's going on behind the scenes, man. All right, that's what's going on behind the scenes. All right, so let's kick it off with 2nd Ezra 6:1. All right, we're going to deal with demons today. We're going to talk about demons, sorcery, because demons exist, man. A lot of people, they watch these movies and they believe that these things are a fairy tale. You watch a Paranormal Activity, right? And they got what's that other one?
The Conjuring.
Yeah, The Conjuring, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, Omen, and they believe that these things can't happen. Yahweh Shah dealt with demons, man. The demons actually knew Yahweh Shah, right? So let's go to 2nd Ezra 6:1. Oh, go ahead, King.
Salaki, the movie The Conjuring, when it first came out, they had warnings that people were actually getting possessed and haunted by demons after watching that movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. If anybody ever seen it, it was a pretty demonic movie. It was real bad. You know, it's one of those movies where it's like, I don't think I can watch this again. Right? But they had a warning. They said people have been known to get haunted. People have been known to get possessed by demons after seeing it. So, you know, you gotta be careful what you let your spirit bear witness to. Right? During this time on what's it, AMC, they have that marathon of Halloween movies, always playing scary movies.
Yeah, they showing what's the movie with the man with the mask?
Michael Myers.
Yeah, Michael Myers. Is that Halloween 2, right? Halloween 1, Halloween 2. And that movie's demonic, man. You know, the hills have eyes. All these spirits be out here, man. Yeah, brother, seen that? That was madness, man. You know.
And also the movie The Exorcist, right? They said everybody who was on that cast ended up dying.
You see that?
Right? I think like only 2 people were still alive after that. So everybody on that cast ended up dying. These aren't just movies. These are, you know, these evil entities, which are the so-called white man, conjuring up spirits and then putting them on the TV so we can watch it. We can allow that into our homes, right? The Lord said, abstain from all appearance of evil, right? You don't just say, it's a movie. You say, no, if it goes against you, how about Shem Yahushua? I got to abstain from it. I got to remove myself far from it, right? Because if I let that into my house, there's no telling what my kids or my wife could partake in, right? Because some people, their spirit's not strong enough to withstand that.
I got a precept for you. This is Sirach chapter 11 and 29. Bring not every man into thine house, for the deceitful man hath many trains.
You see that deceitful man is the so-called white man in these days and age.
Right.
He allows gangster rap, right? Adultery music, homosexuality, anything he can allow into your house, he will. Right? And now on this day is Halloween, right? He wants those demons into your house. He wants your kids dressed up like little devils and ghosts and witches. Right? And the Lord said that we should not suffer a witch to live.
Right, that's right.
So really, if your child is dressing up like that, what should you really be doing?
That's right.
Should be stoning your child. If we was in those days and age, but it's coming back to that time. Right?
That's right. And I'm gonna play the origin. Y'all may not see the video, but y'all gonna hear the audio. And I'll show it for brothers on the live. This quick history, 3 minutes of history and origin of Halloween. See if our brothers can see that. A phone call.
From communion with the dead to pumpkins and pranks, Halloween is a patchwork holiday stitched together with cultural, religious, and occult traditions that span centuries. It all began with the Celts, a people whose culture had spread across Europe more than 2,000 years ago. October 31st was the day they celebrated the end of the harvest season in a festival called Samhain. That night also marked the Celtic New Year and was considered a time between years, a magical time when the ghost of the dead walked the earth.
It was the time when the veil between death and life was supposed to be at its thinnest.
On Samhain, the villagers gathered and lit huge bonfires to drive the dead back to the spirit world and keep them away from the living. But as the Catholic Church's influence grew in Europe, it frowned on the pagan rituals like Samhain. In the 7th century, the Vatican began to merge it with a church-sanctioned holiday. So November 1st was designated All Saints' Day to honor martyrs and the deceased faithful.
Both of these holidays had to do with the afterlife and about survival after death. It was a calculated move on the part of the church to bring more people into the fold.
All Saints' Day was known then as Hallowmas. Hallow means holy or saintly, so the translation is roughly Mass of the Saints. The night before, October 31st, was All Hallows Eve, which gradually morphed into Halloween. The holiday came to America with the wave of Irish immigrants during the potato famine of the 1840s. They brought several of their holiday customs with them, including bobbing for apples and playing tricks on neighbors, like removing gates from the front of houses. The young pranksters wore masks so they wouldn't be recognized. But over the years, the tradition of harmless tricks grew into outright vandalism.
Back in the 1930s, it really became a dangerous holiday. I mean, there was such hooliganism and vandalism.
Thugs.
Trick-or-treating was originally a extortion deal. Give us candy or we'll trash your house.
Storekeepers and neighbors began getting treats or bribes to stop the tricks, and children were encouraged to travel door to door for treats as an alternative to troublemaking. By the late 30s, trick-or-treat became the holiday greeting.
See that? See that? So that's a brief history on so-called Halloween. All right? See that? All right, so that's a brief history on Halloween. Right, according to the so-called white man.
Slovakia. And then Northern Kingdom too, the so-called Mexicans, right? Issachar. They got Dia de Dia de Muertos, Day of the Dead, right? Which coincidentally comes tomorrow night, right? So now you got two demonic so-called holidays that our people love to celebrate, right? So what they would do is they would get together, dress up, wear masks, and go around the graveyards and see their dead relatives and pray with them and talk to them, right? Like nobody's at any graveyards, right? Unless we can be real. It's just dead bodies, right? Nobody's gonna come up and talk to you. No spirit's just gonna show up at a graveyard, right? Just because of that body said, right? So we got two demonic holidays right back after one another.
That's right. So we're going to begin and kick it off with we went to Jeremiah 10. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 6 and 1. Because this all deals with demonology, witchcraft, and sorcery. Right? Now, let's go to the origin of demons. Let's see when these demons were created. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 6 and 1. There is no account in Genesis, the first chapter, the Most High making spirits. Right? That happened before Genesis 1 and 1. Genesis 1 and 1 is man's understanding of time, right? But the Most High really doesn't deal with time, all right? But he created this thing for man, all right? Because the Most High is everlasting, right? If you're everlasting, then you don't deal with this thing, man. All right, real quick, Isaiah 59 and 20, Baba Shah. Before we go to that, Isaiah 59 and 20, I believe that's what I want. 59, that's 59 and 20.
No. Yeah, that's 59 and 20.
Okay, I believe it's 57 and 15.
Isaiah chapter 57 and verse 15. For thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabiteth eternity.
See that? See, the Most High lives in eternity. So if you live in eternity, you don't need a clock, right? You don't need to have years and days, right? The Most High, he lives in eternity. That's his habitation. We don't live in eternity, right? Our days are as a hand's breadth, like the Lord say, man. At most, 80 years. To that in the book of Psalms, right?
But thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabiteth eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in a high and holy place with him also that is of a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones.
Right, that's right. So the point is the Most High dwells in eternity. So as we go into the creation of these spirits, this has happened prior to a man being created, prior to the sun and the moon being created. All right. So let's go to that in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and 1.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 1. And he said unto me, in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or ever the winds blew, before it thundered and lightened.
So this is before everything, before the winds blew, before it thundered and lightning, right before the sun and the moon.
Before or ever the foundation of paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together.
See that? Even before the angels were made. Before the angels were made. You can't open up Genesis and say, well, in this day the Most High made the angels. 2nd Ezra 6 is given, this Yahweh Shai given in the account of what happened before that. Before Satan was made. Because Satan is an angel, man. Right before Michael the archangel, Gabriel, Uriel, even the chariots that you see in the firmament, right? And in your visions and dreams, this is before they were made, right?
Or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, or ever the chimneys of Zion were hot, and the ear the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed that have gathered faith for a treasure.
Even before, who are those that were sealed that gathered faith for a treasure? The elect. It's before our spirits were made. If we're part of that number, before the 12 apostles, before their spirits were created, because all of our spirits were made in the third heaven, in eternity. And this is even before men that were promised salvation from the foundation of the world. Go on.
Then did I consider those things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other but me. Also they shall be ended by none other.
See that? They were all made through me. Who's that saying that? Yahweh. But he's saying in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai. So Yahweh Shai, he's the creator of all demons. Go tell the Christians Jesus Christ created demons. They don't want to hear that. They're going to say, tell your grandmother who's getting off of church tomorrow, right? She's getting off around 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. She got the to-go plate, aluminum foil one with the string beans, chitlins. What else they got on that plate? Deviled eggs, sweet potatoes, turkey legs. You know, Auntie Loretta brought the mac and cheese. And she walking in, she got her hat on, say, you know, Jesus Christ made demons. And she want to throw a fit, man. You know, but we're reading about the creation of these demons. And all of these demons, they obey the Heavenly Father. In the world, they tell you these demons do what they want to do. They rebelled against God. And they came down to earth with a secret plan to overthrow the throne of the mighty. You know?
This is the book of Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 5. I am the Lord, and there is none else. And there is no other God before me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none besides me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things.
See that? The Lord makes evil too, man. Right? When there is murder, who did that? The Lord did that, man. When there's a drive-by killing, out in Philadelphia, the name, I can't remember the name of the brother.
Walter Wallace.
Yeah, Walter Wallace. Hey, the Lord did that, man. Right? Molestation, rape, murder, robbery, any evil, the Lord did it, man. And the Lord created Halloween, man. The Lord made this day. He didn't make it to be praised by man, but he created this to sift out the people.
This is Job chapter 2 and verse 1. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Right? So Satan is considered one of the sons of the Lord.
That's right.
Right? He wouldn't come together if he wasn't the son of the Lord. That was commanded that they came together. Right? So he was going to and fro throughout the earth, right? Causing mischief. That's the Lord's top angel on the on the left hand side, right? The top power on the right hand side is Yahweh Shah.
Right.
Right. And on the left hand side, you got Satan. Right. Satan doesn't do anything without the authority of the Most High. Right. Right. Because the verse after that, in verse 3, and the Lord has said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth? Right. So the Most High said, well, you've been throughout the earth and everybody been falling victim. You haven't considered my servant Job. Right. Because the Lord already knows Job's faith was out of this world. Right. So this book is really a representation of Israel as well. Job, how we was up on top, we had everything. We started to go off, we fell down to nothing, and that redemption story is coming back around now, right? So when you read Job, you got to look at it as though Job is Israel, right? That's how we got to look at it. So Satan doesn't do anything without the Lord's authority.
See this? Now, this shows you. Now, you got to be careful with this thing. Now, this is designed in a compact Bible dictionary. Now, they can go, these guys, sometimes they're on point, sometimes they go off. They're on point with carnal things. You can go into, maps and certain definitions. But check this out. This is what they got for Satan, right? As a common noun, enemy or adversary. As a proper noun, the chief of the fallen spirits, the grand adversary of God and man. See that? So they went off, man. Now, they're not going off saying he is one of the chief spirits, right? Give me real quick, Bob Michelle. Let's go to Ephesians 2 and 1. All right, because he is one of the chief spirits, but he's not the adversary to God. He works for God. Amos went into Job 2. It says he presented himself before the Lord. Don't you go to work, you got to present yourself before your supervisor and your boss. They say, look, we got a morning meeting at 8 a.m. You got to present yourself. What does that mean? That means he has authority over you, right? You don't present yourself to your adversary. This means that this man is controlling you. He's calling the shots. You're the follower. So Satan, Hashatan, the adversary, he's the chief enemy of righteousness, not of the Most High. All right, tell you that in the book of Acts, the 13th chapter. All right, and Satan is just a title. It just means adversary. All right, now the Most High can have an actual name for that spirit. We just call it the adversary or devil. The devil means deceiver. All right, there's only one Satan, but there's many devils. All right, tell you that in the book of James 2 and 19. A lot of people believe there's one devil. You have many devils, but only one Satan.
The book of Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 1. And you have he quickened, who were dead in trespasses and sins, wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the world of the air, the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
Can you read that again, Baba Kasha?
Come. And you have he quickened.
And you have the quickened, meaning you have the made alive. Quicken is an old term that means to make alive. You have the quickened,
who were dead in trespasses and sins.
Right, dead in your sins. You were dead celebrating Christmas. You were dead following the ways of the world. You were dead celebrating the Halloween. Right? Everybody used to celebrate Halloween in here, man. Go on. That's when you were dead, but now you're quickened through Yahweh Shah, right? Because Yahweh Shah, remember, he's the resurrection. And when you believe in him, you automatically enter into everlasting life. All right, go on.
wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world.
What is the course of this world? Right? Sin, wickedness, idolatry, blasphemy, evil, drunkenness, right? Fornication with all of these women, getting high. That's the course of this world has a course, right? Set up by the Most High that man has to follow. And you can't stray from that course unless you believe in Yahushua. And Yahushua puts you on another course, meaning that path, that right way. Otherwise, you're stuck on this course to destruction and darkness, right?
According to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
See that? Satan is the prince of the power of the air. So Satan's a prince, man. Satan is royal according to God, but he's a prince on the left-hand side. Who's the king? Yahweh. Any son of a king will be classified as a prince. So Yahushua, he's a prince. Tell you that in the book of Revelation, the first chapter. Michael, he's a prince. Tell you that in Daniel chapter 12 and 1. Right? Gabriel's a prince. The princes are the chief angels. We're princes. We're princes on the earth. And there are princes in the heavens. You have saints in the heavens. You have saints on the earth. That's the balance between the celestial bodies and the terrestrial bodies. All right, so Satan is one that, like Amos was saying, one of the chief spirits. He works for the Most High. All right, and Satan he was given angels under his authority too. You know.
Keep going.
No, that's it on that. Just to show that he was a prince, man. So he has power. All right, and we're going into let's go to Revelation chapter 12. Right, let's go to Revelation chapter 12 and 7, because remember in this dictionary it said he's one of the fallen angels, and that's a concept you hear in Christianity, the fallen angels. Brothers heard that before? They show that in movies, they show that on TV, they make fables about it, man. Right, about one of the fallen. There's no such thing as the fallen angels. All right, bring that out.
This Revelation chapter 12 and verse 7.
And we're showing you where they got that from.
And there was war in heaven.
Right? Is that talking about where the Most High dwells at? Right? You got Satan. He put a sword and a dagger, right? And snuck up on the Most High. The Most High said, "What the hell?" And then the Most High took his staff out. Him and Satan started going at it. And the Lord ducking arrows. He called it Michael. Michael leading the charge, and Gabriel took a bullet for the Lord, and the Lord came out victorious. Right? Is that what happened? No, that's not what happened, man. War in heaven. How many heavens are there? There's 3 heavens. What heaven is this speaking about? The firmament, right? Tell me that in Genesis. Let's get that real quick, King. Genesis 1 and 6. It's not talking about the 3rd heaven. You think the Most High has war up there? It says he maketh peace in his high places in the book of Job. Was that 1 and 6?
Genesis chapter 1 and verse 7. And God made the firmament and divided the waters that were under the firmament and the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the 2nd day.
See that? He called the firmament heaven. And you can't go past that firmament. All right? That's a molten looking glass. All right? That firmament is solid. All right? It's solid. You can't crack that. All right? Now, the war in heaven, like the brother said, that's the war up there in the firmament. All right? And let's see who's involved in this war. This is speaking of World War III, Salaki. All right? This is speaking of World War III. That's what John saw. There was war in heaven. All right?
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels.
Right. Now, Michael's the chief archangel. Let's go to Daniel chapter 12 and 1. Michael is not Yahushua. Michael in the Hebrew, Mayaka Allah, meaning like God, or who is like the Most High. The chief archangel of war. And he's the guardian angel. We're going to read that for the nation of Israel. Every Israelite that fears the Most High, you have an angel encamped about you. Right? And we're going to get that in Psalms 34 and 7 too. All right, but let's get Daniel 12.
Daniel chapter 12 verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people.
So you have a guardian angel around you on an individual level, But Michael, he's the guardian angel for the nation, right? He's the great prince for the nation of Israel. All right. So you have powers. Don't you have power and rank in any military? You may have a corporal or lieutenant over 50 men, then you have the general over 1,000 men. So your guardian angel is sanctioned over you on an individual level, or your family, he may be over 3, right? But now you have Michael, who's over the sands of the sea of the children of Israel. He's the great prince, the great son of God in the heavens that stands for the Israelites when we go through conflict and adversity as a nation. All right? You got a question, brother?
Yes, King. I remember when I was in law enforcement, there were a lot of people handing out St. Michael's to Esau's.
Yeah, don't they make an oath or something to it's like a prayer to Michael, I believe.
Yes.
Yep.
And I wasn't into the word then.
Con.
Wow.
See that? It is like a prayer. I can't remember, but it's like a prayer that they do, Esau do to Michael, man, on the left-hand side. You know, but they don't know what's going on. And you can't pray to Michael. You got Catholics, they'll pray to Michael the Archangel. You know, bring it out, brother.
Don't Catholics pray to a lot of different things?
Yeah, they pray.
I've seen them pray to Mother Mary. I've
Right.
seen them pray to a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, or pure idolatry.
For different reasons, they pray to different things, I think.
Instead of praying to Yahweh, right? Yeah, that's it on that. Unless you want to get the whole thing.
We can finish off one. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered. Every one that should be written shall be found written in the book of life.
See that? So Michael's the guardian angel for the nation of Israel. What you got? All right, so let's go back to Revelation 12. So you had a war in heaven, Michael and his angels, which are what? His soldiers. Right? He has soldiers too. The Lord said, here, Michael, I'm going to give you a particular amount of angels under your authority, and I want you to take down this person that we're about to read about.
Verse 8, it prevailed not, neither was there place
So I can try to read it from the top again.
Revelations 12 and 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels.
Right. Is that a mythological creature with angels? No, that's not what it's talking about. The dragon is the so-called white man. Straight like that. Right? That's what Michael is. Michael is to Yahweh Shai as Joab is to David. All right. He's the captain of the host. All right. For lack of better terms. All right. And you had a war between the fighter jets, these unmanned aerial vehicles, these drones, these helicopters that John saw up there in the heaven. He's down on the earthly level and he's looking up and seeing this war in heaven. But he saw Michael, because Michael has his own little chariot going on, and these angels shooting down with lasers and beams Esau's weaponry up there in the third heaven. And he's looking at it, and it said, that's a war in heaven, man. All right. And it says the dragon prevailed not, right? Esau lost that battle. He's that dragon. When you read this, we're not going to go through the whole chapter. That's a breakdown for another day, but he's the dragon.
Verse 8, it prevailed not, neither was there place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
That's what they believed. You see where they get that from? They say Michael and his angels, he defeated Satan and him and his angels. They said, well, look, we want to dwell on the earth. God punished them, now demons and them dwell on the earth. But there's demons still in the heavens, man. I tell you that in 1 Kings 22. You have a host of heaven on his right hand and on his left. Right? So that means the Lord is partial to certain demons. He kicked out certain demons on the earth, but the good demons, he let them stay up there in the heavens. Right? So it's speaking about the downfall of the so-called white man's military in World War III. That's what it's speaking about. It's not the angels that rebelled. He took 1/3 of the angels to come down to the earth.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 12.
That's the spirit.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Right? So when you read Isaiah 14, you got to read it in context. verses 1 and 2 talks about Israel taking slaves into our land, right? Going back to being in rulership. Then it's saying, how have you fallen, oh Lucifer? What does Lucifer mean? Light bearer.
There you go.
So who's the light bearer of this world right now? Esau. There you go. So how has the light bearer of this world be weakened and fallen from heaven? Right? Heaven is rulerships. Right? We can go to 2 Peter to show you that. Right? The heavens were destroyed with a great noise and fervent heat. Right? This is the rulership. How has their rulership been cast down? Right? Which did as weak as the nations. Right? That goes back into Revelation 12. Revelation 13. Right? He causes all great and small, right, to have to worship him, right, to follow in his ways. That's how you weaken the nations. You cut them off from what they were before, right, and put them under subjection to you, right? Like how we're going to do to all these nations. That's what Esau been doing since the Grecians, right? When they truly came into power, when so-called civilization began in the so-called white man's eyes, right? That's what he's been doing since then, having us join the Olympics, men uncircumcising themselves, orgies, eating pork, excess drinking, laying down with whoever you wanted to, homosexuality, bestiality. That's how he weakens the nations. And the chief nation that he weakens the most was Israel.
That's right. So Lucifer fell from heaven, meaning the so-called white man's rulership, like the brother went into, man. Right? This is heaven right now. I mean, look how he rules the earth with an iron fist, man. Right? He takes over the earth through rape, robbery, and murder, but his kingdom's going to fall. But we're showing you again how in Revelation and other precepts where Christians and Catholics get this concept and misnomer of the so-called, of Satan rebelling against God through the precepts, through the Bible. And they don't do that in church, right? They can't go through that because they still have this. Let's go to 2 Peter 1:16. Right? They still have this concept about the so-called white man's Christianity in their mind.
The book of 2 Peter, chapter 1 and verse 6. And to knowledge, temperance. And to temperance.
1:16.
1:16. Salaki. For we have not followed cunningly devised fables, when we made known unto you the power and coming of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, but were eyewitnesses of his majesty.
So we don't follow cunningly devised fables is what they do in the church, man. Those are the cunningly devised fables. Where these priests and these different councils come up to incorporate their doctrine into the scriptures. All right, so he's showing you the origin of demons. The Heavenly Father created them prior to Genesis 1:1, and they were made with a specific purpose. That's the just balance on the right-hand side. All right, let's get that in 2 Chronicles 18 and 18, Baba Kashab. All right, let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 18 and 18. And demons aren't what you always see on TV. You can have a spirit of lust, and that's a demon. Right? You can have a pork-eating demon on you. All right? A demon is not somebody who heads turns 360 degrees all the time and climbs on walls and throws up. Right? That's not what it's always talking about. And your brother that can't stop committing adultery, he got a demon on him, right? You know, this woman that can't stop being a fornicator, she has a demon on her, right? And the Most High sends these demons on them to manipulate them and cause them to do his will. These demons come from the heaven and they dwell amongst men, right? And you have to be able to recognize these demons, you know? So like one more point, that's the difference between us and the so-called white man. The so-called white man would say, well, this person, they're schizophrenic, they're bipolar, they're an addict. No, we say he has a demon. He needs to repent and get that demon exorcised through the word. So they don't know what's going on, you know?
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 18 and verse 18. Again, he said, therefore hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting upon his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing on his right hand and on his left.
Right. The right hand of the Most High is where the chief righteous angels sit. Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Raphael, Yahushua on his right hand. 8 of 4 and 20 elders are up there. You know, the souls of the righteous, right? Spirits of wisdom, spirits of humility, meekness, spirits of patience. All of them spirits are on the right hand side. What's on the left hand side? Spirits of demons, man. Spirits of lust, adultery, wrath. Brothers that got anger problems, the Lord's helping send the spirit down on that man. Right? And he has a spirit of wrath and anger. The Lord has these spirits. You got a precept?
God, I'm trying to find it.
Con. 1 Samuel 16 and 15.
16, 15.
Con.
15, 15. First Samuel chapter 16 and 15. And Saul's servant said unto him, Behold, now an evil spirit from Yahweh troubleth thee. Let our Lord now command thy servants which are before thee to seek out a man who is a cunning player on a harp. And it shall come to pass when the evil spirit from Yahweh is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well. Right? So it said an evil spirit from Yahweh came upon Saul, right? To have a hatred towards David. Right? So when the evil spirit comes down, that doesn't just come from hell, from the underworld and
right, the netherworld.
Hades, and you just start shaking and you start looking around all crazy. No, the Lord sends that spirit on you. 9 times out of 10, it's because you was going off. Right? Or it's just to magnify himself. Right? Because isn't that what Yahweh came to do? He was magnifying the Most High through his works. Right? Casting out demons. Right? Like it was the one demon where they would tie him up with chains. He was in the graveyards cutting himself.
Legion.
Right, Legion. Right? They knew who Yahweh was. Right? They asked him, is it your time to rule yet? So the demons and the angels know what's up, man. They know the timeline, they know how everything is supposed to work. Right? But they don't know the day or the hour. And the scriptures tell you that.
This is the book of Job, chapter 23 and 9. I'll start at 8. Job chapter 23 and 8. It reads, Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I cannot perceive him. On the left hand, where he doth work, but I cannot behold him. He hideth himself on the right hand, that I cannot see him. So the scriptures say on the left hand where he doth work. So the Most High do a lot of work on the left hand, right? You don't want the Most High to touch you with his left hand. If the Most High touch you with his left hand, brother, you in for a bad time. Now the Most High can touch you with his right hand. And we salute brothers with our right hand. We touch brothers with our right hand. And we bless them in the name of the Lord. Watch out for a brother that always want to salute with the left hand. He salute everybody with the right hand, but when he come to you, he try to do the left hand. The brother not right, man. So if the Lord touch you with his left hand, you best believe you're going to be in for a horrible life, man. Right? So that in Job chapter 19, that the hand of the Lord hath touched me, meaning the left hand side, man. Because Job felt as though the Most High persecuted him. You know? Let's go to Judges 9 and 23. Right? This is the book of Judges. Right? I got it. This is the book of Judges, chapter 9. I'll start at 22. I give brothers a chance to get there. In the book of Job, it's like your Judges, chapter 9 and 22. So these are the things that happen throughout the scriptures, man. And the thing about what Amos brought out in 1 Samuel chapter 16, these men, even though they was with Saul, they still were able to recognize that this man had an evil spirit on him, man. Right? Sometimes, Jake, you got to step out these carnal shoes and be spiritual. You get into an argument with somebody, you got to say, well, hold on now. The argument may be over, what people argue over. It may be over a parking spot. It could be you and your wife get into it, you and your brother over something small. And the Lord, that's not yours. The Lord sent the spirit down there. You got to be able to recognize, hold on, brother. But the Most High sent the spirit down, man, to cause us to be at strife. Let us examine our ways. Let's repent. Let's pray that this spirit leaves us, man. That spirit could be in you got a demon in your household, man. You know? So let's Judges 9 and 22. It reads, when Abimelech had reigned 3 years over Israel, then God sent an evil spirit. Right? It says Satan. It says, then God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem, and the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech. So they dealt violently and evil with this man. The Lord stirred up these spirits, these certain group of men, to persecute this other man for his evil doings. Right? So this is the things that happen behind closed doors. These are the spiritual things, right? All right? Let's go to the book of St. Mark, chapter 3 and 9. All right, let's go to the book of St. Mark, chapter 3 and 9. We're touching on the spiritual realm. Come.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 3 and verse 9. And he spake to his disciples that a small ship should wait on him because of the multitude, lest they should throng him. For he had healed many, and so much that they pressed upon him for to touch him, as many as had plagues and unclean spirits, when they saw him, fell down before him and cried, saying, Thou art the Son of God.
Right. So you got these unclean spirits. And they did the spirit, was it like a Casper? You know, you see Casper in a TV show back in the day, and he popped up and said, Hey, you're the Son of God. Right? No, this is an actual man that said, Thou art the Son of God. But as St. Mark recorded it, he said that was a spirit in a man. Right? You can have an unclean spirit within a woman that tempts you to commit adultery. Right? It's not that woman. You say, look, that woman got an unclean spirit on her, man. An unclean spirit came to me and tempted me to go to hell off, man. All right? And the point is, these unclean spirits know who Hamashiach Yahweh is because the Lord created them. Right? We can go on.
Mark 3 and verse 12. He straightly charged them that they should not make him known.
See that? So the Lord he tell these demons what time it is, man. Shut the hell up. That's what he said, man. Don't make it be known. Don't be coming out here saying I'm Hamashiach Yahweh, man. I don't need everybody to know that right now. Right? So even these demons, they under the authority of Yahweh, man. He charged these demons. You know, he summoned them, man. You know? We read in 2nd Ezra 6 that the Lord actually created them.
Verse 13.
No, you had a precept.
Oh, come. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 28, and I'm going to start at verse 9. And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land. Therefore, then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die. Right? So the king of Israel, which was Saul at the time, commanded all those wicked spirits to be cast out of the land. Right? Because if the wicked spirits are in the land's will fall to whoredom, to witchcraft, to adult, to any wicked thing. Right? Because it's going to be magnified. Verse 10. And Saul swore to her by the Lord, as the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Right? So Saul lied on the Lord. Right? He already dead for that. Right? Verse 11. Then said the woman, Who shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, Bring me up Samuel. Right? You know that type of left-hand side darkness you got to have to bring people up from the dead? Right? You bringing people from the spirit world to talk to you in the midst of a fire or something. Right? That's good, brother.
What is that?
A familiar spirit is like somebody who can bring back wizards or witches.
Go ahead. I was going to say something.
You know, people who deal with like occult stuff.
Right.
You know, during this time, you got a whole bunch of familiar spirits. People go to mediums.
Right.
You know, they try to talk to people who could be from the dead or try to bring up spirits. Exactly. Right. You got people that make pentagrams in the woods, hanging stuff off trees, trying to do all manner of wickedness. Right.
Yeah, I want to make a quick point too to line back what the brother said. And if you're familiar with something, what does that mean? You know it. Right. So like the brother said, you have actual people who know these demons. If you want to get to this demon, you got to go through them. That's what a medium is, right? A medium meaning they're the middleman. They're the advocate for Satan and the demons. If you want to come to Satan, if you want to deal with spirits from the dead, you got to come to them because they know the demons. They talk to them. They can say, look, I'm calling upon these demons and I want them to get on this brother right here. And the demons follow them because they have them spirits in them. They have a higher spirit of a left hand in them than these lesser demons that they can send on people. And they're the middleman between Satan and man. That's why Saul went to this witch, man. Right? Now you got certain witches that they fake it. You see these palm reading buildings buildings as you travel, and you'll see people that want to do tarot cards. Look, they know through experience. A lot of people say, well, how does this person know that I was going to meet this man? Because you told him your schedule, man. You know, you told him where you work at, and a lot of them have experience. A lot of them be old Eves, old white women, you know, and through experience, they can just tell you through advice. But you have actual people on the left-hand side that deal with these demons. But like the brother said, they got pentagrams in the woods, right? They sending demons, and you got people sending demons on you right now, man. Right? Trying to curse you. I want this, I can't stand Micah, man. And they call it upon Satan. Can you send an evil spirit on Micah? Now, Micah, if he not in the spirit, if he not keeping the commandments, and that spirit gonna fall upon him. He gonna get sifted out. He gonna fall out the truth. But if he keeping the commandments, and he gonna remain in this thing. Don't think that people not praying on your downfall. Not people say that in the streets, they praying on my downfall. Like the little dude on the corner, man. No, it's these wizards on the high places, man. Putting spells on the children of Israel, hoping that you fall, man. Sending spirits of lust and temptation to get you to go off. And they know these demons like you know the Lord. Right? This brother had a quick point first. Yes.
No, you already answered.
Okay.
I was saying, what's that scripture? It's talking about the heathen were talking about for not keeping the commandments, they'll be able to. God's not with us.
Judith chapter 5, 17 through 20. You had something, brother?
Yes. Even last night, the Asian lady who had our Bible,
Right.
she was trying to put a so-called curse.
Right. Yep. She was trying to put a curse, but she didn't know what was going on. You know.
That was bad.
Yeah, that was bad. Oh, I had a precept if you didn't have one. You want to finish
I was
that?
gonna finish it up.
Okay.
And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice, and this woman spake to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me, disquieted me, for thou art Saul? And the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. Right, so the woman, she went into some type of trance and saw the angels coming down. Right, if you read the scriptures, they call it Jacob's ladder. Right,
Right.
saw spirits on the left-hand side and the right-hand side coming down, going to and fro throughout the earth. Right, you know those spirits weren't no 2-foot spirits. You know, like in the movies, you got the devil and the angel on one. Right, those was probably 100 feet tall angels coming down, going to and fro out the earth. Right, to be terrified when you see somebody come out of, you know, this is a witch. She probably do this all the time.
Yeah.
To see to see Samuel come out, she was terrified. Imagine the countenance that man had. And the angels coming to and fro, that was probably a horrific sight to see.
And this is the precept to link up with that. This Genesis chapter 28 and straight to the point, verse 11, 10. And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran, and he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night because the sun was set. And he took up the stones of that place and put them for his pillows. So that's a tough man. Stones for his pillows. And laid down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. What is it? Is that an actual ladder? And one angel holding it so it don't fall? And one angel got a hard hat on. Have to follow OSHA protocols. They coming in, your supervisor, the one chief angel, hold on, you're not doing that right. Step down. I'll show you how it's done. And they gotta watch, you know them videos you gotta watch when you get that job. Them old videos from the 80s to show you how to climb a ladder.
They got the dummies falling.
Yeah, the dummies falling, all of that. That's not what it's talking about, man. Right? Remember, who wrote Genesis? Moses. So this thing is written for only those that have eyes to see. And 2nd Ezra chapter 14, 1 through 5, the Lord told Moses, these things shalt thou hide, and these things shalt thou declare. So there are certain things that Moses wrote that's hidden to the normal man. Moses wrote about a serpent. We know that's not an actual serpent. He wrote about a fruit and a tree and other parabolic things that are hidden to the average man, but it's revealed to those who have eyes to see. This ladder is one of those things. This is a portal, right? A portal. Hold on, brother. This is a portal, like Amos was going into, that connects the heavenly realm to the terrestrial realm, right? That's what this ladder is. It's a gateway, a door from the heavens to the earth. All right, it's going to tell you that as we read on. It says, Genesis 28:13. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. I'm going to jump to the point, verse 16. And Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, surely Yahweh is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place? Meaning the land of Israel, man, because of the spiritual activity that happens in that land. This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. What does a gate do? A gate is something that you open to enter and to exit, man. You either go through this gate to enter into a dwelling place, or go through this gate to leave a certain dwelling place. So this gate, in the spiritual realm, is where the angels ascend and descend from the earth. That's the headquarters. And like in Revelation, the 7th chapter, the Lord said he saw an angel that ascended from the east, having a seal of the living God. Because that's the headquarters where the angels descend from. That's what she saw, and Amos was bringing out in 1 Samuel 28.
So, like, bro, you had a question?
Yes, that's the reason why, one of the reasons why we pray to the east.
Con. You had a question too, brother?
Yeah, what was the precept that you said for Moses?
That's 2nd Ezra chapter 14. You can read 1 through 5.
Thank you.
Con.
God. And also these wicked and evil spirits, they can fall in love with you. They can become so attached to you that they just never want to leave. Right? This is the book of Tobit.
It's like that's 2nd Ezra 14, 1 through 6.
Okay.
1 through 6.
Right? This is the book of Tobit, chapter 6 and verse 12. And the maid is fair and wise. Right? This is going into Sarah, which is going to be Tobias' wife. Right? Now therefore hear me, and I will speak to her father, and when we return from Ragal, we will celebrate the marriage. For I know that Ragal cannot marry her to another according to the law of Moses, but he shall be guilty of death, because the right of inheritance doeth rather appertain to thee than to any other, right? Because that was near kin to him, right? Tobit and Ragal, I think I'm saying his name right. They were cousins, right? Then the young man answered the angel, I have heard, brother Azarias, that this maid had been given to 7 men who all died in the marriage chamber. And now I am the only son of my father, and I am afraid, lest I go in unto her, I die as the other before. For a wicked spirit loveth her, which hurteth nobody, but those which come unto her. Wherefore I also fear, lest I die and bring my father and my mother's life because of me to the grave with sorrow, for they have no other sons to bury them. Right? So that wicked spirit loves Sarah. And any man that came close to her was put to death. Right? So Tobias was mindful of that. Right? So when Paul said he had a thorn in his side, no, tell him what that thorn could have been. Right? That thorn could have really been an evil spirit just in his ear. Like, remember all those saints you killed back in the day? Right. Remember all those people you got put to death for what you preaching now? Yeah, you just wicked. You a hypocrite. You know, we don't know what Paul was going through, man. Paul was on a whole different level. Right? To know you got a thorn in your side and it's probably just going to be there. Right? You know how heavy that is? Imagine you got that one sin you can't get rid of and you just got to deal with it for the rest of your life. Right? That's the type of level our forefathers were on. But these wicked spirits, they just cleave to you. Right? And if it finds a beautiful home inside you because you're not strong enough, right, it's going to fall in love with you. That's why it says confess your faults to your brothers, right? So you can pray for one another, right? You got to place that burden on yourself that your other brother's going through. Because sometimes a brother may fall out the truth because he tried to do it alone.
That's right. That's right. And I'm gonna link up what Amos is bringing out. This 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 6 or 5. I'll read 5. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 5. It's Paul speaking about the spirits that he had to deal with, man. Right? Of such a one will I glory, Yet of myself I will not glory, but in mine infirmity. So infirmity, like we went into yesterday, is a weakness. If something is firm and strong, right? If it's an infirmity, it's not strong, it's a weakness. Something that you struggle with. So Paul's about to tell you about the things that he struggles with in the truth, his certain weaknesses. Because the whole previous chapter, he went into his strengths. He boasted about how great he was, not in a wicked way, but just to put Jake in their place, right? So let's read on verse 6. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and 6. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool. But I will say the truth, but now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he seeth me to be, or that he heareth of me. Because they put Paul on a godlike level, man. Remember in Corinth, they said, look, I come of Paul. Hey, Paul, Paul might be the Lord. They wanted to sacrifice animals to Paul, man. When you read the book of Acts. Right? When him and it might have been Silas, or no, it was him and Barnabas. They called one Jupiter and one Hermes, man, or Mercury. You know? So they actually said, look, we gotta sacrifice animals because these men are gods. Paul said, hold on, I'm not no God. Let me be real with you. Look, I deal with things too. Right? So this Paul on a humble. All right. Verse 7. And we saw our forefathers, the Most High displays their weaknesses too, and the things that they struggle with, right? Like when Yahweh Shah was praying in the garden, that he didn't have to deal with the crucifixion, right? And the Lord strengthened him, and he still went through it. So even the Lord shows the infirmities of our forefathers, but their faith is what's going to drive them to get through that, man. All right, verse 7. Unless this 2 Corinthians 12 and 7. Unless I should be exalted above measure. Through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. So Paul is saying, hey, the Lord put a demon on me, man. Right? Because if the Lord didn't put a demon on him, they would have put Paul next to Yahweh Shah. They might have started worshiping Paul. So Paul had to the Lord had to humble Paul and have him look, I'm gonna make you deal with this demon, bro. To let you know you just a man. A messenger of Satan is a demon. All right, Satan has messengers. To buffet somebody means to what? What does that mean, brothers? To buffet. There was given a messenger of Satan to buffet Paul. Trouble, but to beat. Beat. Literally with your hands or your fist. So he was getting beat up by a demon, man. Not on a physical level, but like Amos was saying, on a spiritual level. So Paul had a demon he had to deal with. Verse 8. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice that it might depart from me. So he prayed 3 times that this demon could leave him. Jake in the world, they embrace their demons. And they don't know that they have demons. You know? Verse 9. And he said unto me, this was the Most High told Paul when he prayed that this demon would leave him. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in infirmities, that the power of Mashiach may rest upon me. Right? So the Lord told him, basically, you bid in this truth, that's sufficient, that's good enough. This is something that you just got to deal with. Right? You may not know why, but you know, this is going to make you stronger. Sometimes if you're not given, if you have to be given obstacles to make you strong, right? That's what strengthens you. Sometimes you need a downfall to help you, get back up. If brothers understand what I'm saying. So the Lord put a spirit on Paul to have him be able to fight this thing and build up his faith and overcome this thing. But he couldn't overcome it. And the Lord said, well, you've been in this truth, that's sufficient. My grace is sufficient for you. So even Paul had to deal with these demons, man. All right. So let's go. Where was we at? With the Genesis. I had Leviticus. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 20 and 16. All right, Leviticus chapter 20 and 16. Remember, Yahweh Shai had demons trying to get to him. Satan himself, man, hopping on Peter, saying, Lord, be it far from thee. Hopping on the people as they walked by and mocked him on the cross, saying, Lord, get off this cross.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 16. And if a woman approach unto any beast and lie down there unto it, Thou shalt kill the woman and the beast. Thou shalt surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon it.
So like I want to, don't do that. We want 20 and 27.
20 and 27. A man also or a woman that have a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood shall be upon them.
See that? So that witch and Endor is supposed to get stoned to death, man. And when you read that account, Saul actually put out the wizards out the land, right? But now they say witchcraft is one of the fastest growing things in Babylon the Great, man. And America is built off of witchcraft. And we went into familiar spirits. Let's go to Deuteronomy 18.
Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 10. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire.
That's human sacrifice.
Or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer.
Right. That's a lot. We may go through each one. Brother seen the movie 300, right? Remember when they went to see the oracle? Remember King Leonidas? He went up to the mountain and dealt with those what was those? Yeah. Well, no. Remember it was the woman. Remember they licked on the woman, and then the woman went into a trance, and she was kind of floating up, and then he kind of whispered something in Greek or Latin to her. Then the woman whispered something to him and said, "This is what y'all should do," you know. So that's another account of seeking a familiar spirit. That woman that was floating, she was naked in there, and they was molesting her and putting spells on her, you know, and they had all of them that syphilis on their face, you know. That's an example of familiar spirits, man. Yeah, that's third stage syphilis when you look it up. Yeah, they call it tertiary syphilis. Well, let's read that again.
Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 10. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire. Right. That's talking about sacrificing your child to Moloch. Yep. Right. Sacrificing your child to other gods. Or use divination.
Right. And all of these are really the same thing, but they slightly different. Divination is magic, so-called black magic, sorcery. You understand that? That's divination. All right. Like people, your modern day people that use divination are your chemists, your pharmacists. That's them when they make potions. Remember in class they teach you put this drop of this and you mix this and the color turn green or something explode, and that's divination, man. They teaching you about chemistry and you thinking that you're going to be a scientist and you know you got your A in class and you a witch, man. It teaching you wizardry. Brothers know that what that word pharmacy mean, right? Witchcraft. It literally means witchcraft. The word pharmacy, we won't pull it up for those that may not know, right? Everybody, you know, may not know that. I'm gonna pull it up.
Also, you got to be mindful what your kids watch, like we said earlier, right? On the Mickey Mouse show, right? They got the wizard Mickey Mouse, right? The Disney Channel, they get the little magic wand and they make the Mickey Mouse ears, right? The magical world of Disney, right? They put all this stuff out there so you think it's okay, right? We always thought magic was cool, right? You go to the magic shows and all that. Somebody had one ball in their hand, you close your hand, now they got 8.
Right.
You know, something crazy. Like, how did he do that?
Right.
They pull a rabbit out his hat. You know, we always thought it was cool, but the Lord said we got to avoid and not have any of that among us, right?
Yeah, I saw that's something with David Blaine. He coughed up a frog, man. He was on TV. He actually, I don't know how he did it, but he started coughing up live frogs.
I seen him pull $100 bills out of a painting.
You see that? I didn't see. And he looked like he actually deal with that sorcery, man. You know, a lot of them that sleight of hand card trick not enough for him, man.
Angel.
Yeah, Chris Angel, he's off, man. Maybe you try to walk on water and floating over pyramids. Today we're going to float over the Luxor. You know, he whispering, and his whole family into that, man. You know, I used to watch that when I was young. I said, Mind Freak. There you go. Yeah, I used to watch that. It used to come on A&E. What are you going to do next? You know, I'm sitting up there. I don't know. You know, I mean, one time he said he gonna make you I'm gonna make you float from TV. Like you watching it, he said, I'm gonna make you float in your seat. And then he said, I want you to stand up. So I stood up. So I gotta repent for that, man. You know, I just thought about it. He said, I'm gonna make you float. He said, I closed my eyes. I thought I was gonna float. I said, man, you know.
So Lucky, yeah, he used to just go around just making random people float.
Right.
Like that's not normal. That's actually terrifying.
Right. And that's
divination.
That's divination.
Or an observer of time.
Oh, Salaki, with divination, I want to go to that word pharmacy. Now, brothers can look that up. That's from the online etymology dictionary. All right, you can look that up. Etymology is the origin of words. All right. It says, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but pharmacy, it says, from pharmakeus, a preparer of drugs, a poisoner, a sorcerer. From pharmacon, a drug, a poison, a phauter, a charm, spell, or enchantment. So you go to these modern day pharmacists, they're enchanters, man. You know, they're giving you something and they put a demon on you. You taking Luxor to help with your damn insomnia. Next thing you know, you got a spirit of wrath on you. Side effects may include so. Those are demons, man. These are the demons that come with my witchcraft that I'm giving you. And you can't, and they don't tell you how to escape them side effects. They say, look, these are demons we putting on you, you got to deal with it. And you got to keep paying us. We're going to keep putting demons on you. Yeah, you get hooked, man. So these are your modern day wizards and witchcrafts. Drug dealers, man. Like people get addicted to crack, man. You've seen Jungle Fever. Remember what she told Wesley Snipes, man, when he was walking with his daughter? You seen Menace to Society, what he'll do with the cheeseburgers and all of that. You know, people do that, man, because they hooked. They got these demons on them, you know?
Observer of time.
Okay. An observer of times is somebody that deals with astrology. That's an observer of times, right? People that, hey, they'll teach you in the school, was it starlight, star bright? I wish upon the star tonight, right? And they go out there and say, wish upon this star right there. You know, and then you kind of, you know, the star go by, you say, I want that star. You could buy a star, supposedly from a so-called white man, and name it and make wishes off of it, huh? They say, this star, you can buy this star for $3,000. They say, this is yours. Brother, you don't know what's going on. You know, $3,000, and you think that's your same star. You don't even know how the constellations move, man. Yeah, so you don't know what's going on. But an observer of times is somebody that deals with astrology. Astrology is the study of the stars to bring about power and sorcery. People that say I'm Aquarius, Pisces, Taurus, Libra. All right, let's go to 1 Chronicles 12 and 32.
Ask you what's your sign.
Yeah, what's your sign? Right? I only date Scorpios. Scorpios are tempting. You know, it's Scorpio season. You had a rapper named Sage the Gemini a few years ago, man.
That's my sister's cousin.
Oh yeah, see that? See that? Keep it in the family, man.
It's First Chronicles.
Second Chronicles, I believe. Well, Issachar, that understand of the times. It might be First Chronicles. I'm looking at First Chronicles. First Chronicles 12 and 32.
The book of First Chronicles, chapter 12, and verse 32. And it reads, and the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times, to know that Israel ought to do, the heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their commandment.
Right, and this is different than astrology, right? This is astronomy is different than astrology. Astronomy is pretty much the use of the stars on the right-hand side, right? Astrology is the study of the stars on the left-hand side. Now that's where you get the word zodiac from, right? Let's go to well, I'm gonna finish this. Then we're gonna go to 2 Kings 23 and 5. This is where you get the word zodiac goes back to the word zoo. When you look it up, I'm gonna pull it up on the phone. That's why with the zodiac, what do you have? A whole bunch of what? Animals. You have a lion for Leo, a Cancer for crab, a Pisces for fish. you have different animals around this thing because it goes back to that word dealing with the word zoo, like a zoophile, right? They deal with animals. Zoologists, they deal with animals, right? The word zodiac goes back to, it means literally a little circle of animals, right? Which goes back to sun worship, right? They make that sun the circle, and around it, you have different animals that you will worship throughout the year that will bring about different spirits on people. Certain churches have the cross with the circle behind it. You see the cross with the circle, that's the zodiac, the worship of beasts and animals in the sun. That's so every Christian is an observer of times. Now they can say, well, no, I'm a Christian, I'm a Baptist, I'm a Methodist, and you break it down to them, you know, they don't know what they're doing. The Lord said, "They worship, they know not what." We know what we worship, right? For salvations of the Jews. You got something else?
The sister said, "Is that where spirit animals come from?"
Right, yeah. People say spirit animals, man. You know, I didn't know about that till recent. Yaradan was telling me, look, they have things called spirit animals. When people say my spirit animal is a leopard, I just feel the connection to this leopard. And they wear a leopard skin. They have leopard bean babies. And it was called back in that, the bean babies in the car. You know, they got leopard taxidermy leopards, stuffed leopards. I just feel close to the leopard. There's no such thing as a spirit animal, brother. Right? So that's where they get that from, man. All of this is witchcraft and sorcery because we're dealing with this so-called Halloween.
So, like, if somebody asked a question on here, no eggs are not unclean. That's Job 6:6. It says, "Can that which is savory be eaten without salt, or is there any taste in the white of an egg?" Right. So yes, you can eat eggs.
Right. It's Job like it's seasoned. Let's go to Job 9:9. Baba Kashaf. Job chapter 9:9. Right now, the children of Issachar, they wasn't telling Israel about astrology when it says they had understanding of the times. Because when you observe something, they don't know what's going on. When you understand the times and the stars, things of that nature, you can use it to profit the army. When you read First Chronicles, those chapters, I believe like from 10 on down to around like 14, it goes into how each tribe benefited David's army and the different gifts and skill sets that each tribe brought. And when it's an Issachar and that part of their army, they were the astronomers. So they can navigate the stars and they would get revelations from the stars to tell David, look, David, this is what we should do. Put the archers on this flank. Because if they shoot this way at this degree, they can hit these guys right in their chest. And we want these guys to be over here. So you couldn't defeat the Israelites, man. You have men that knew mathematics. That's mathematics too, man, astronomy. That's why the children of Issachar, they have that calendar. And Zebulon, the Aztec calendar, or the Mayan calendar. You know, now they said 2012. Some people say it was a typo. It's supposed to be 2021. You know, so we'll see.
This is the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 8, which alone spreadeth out the heavens and treadeth upon the waves of the sea, which make it Archosaurus.
Right. Now these are different star constellations that the children of Issachar used to help David and the children of Israel. Arcturus. You can go. I'm gonna pull it up so I can show Jake what this is.
Arcturus, Orion, Pleiades, and Chalmers, and the chambers of the south.
That's it on that. So those are different constellations. Now Arcturus, Slaki, bear with me. Arcturus, when you look it up, is the brightest star in the constellation of boats, and the fourth brightest in the night sky, and the brightest in the northern celestial hemisphere. So Job, they already had knowledge of constellations and astronomy prior to NASA. This is before NASA, right? Before the damn Esau scientists and physicists and men like that. Our forefathers knew about that. Abraham knew about this. Job knew about that. Job was an astronomer. Job was wealthy. Job had wisdom. And he said he knew about Arcturus, Pleiades, and the chambers of the south. These are different constellations that you see in the heavens. So Job from thousands of years ago, he could sit down and teach you about what you see in the sky. Now I'm going to pull up what Pleiades is. So Pleiades, and I've seen Pleiades, you can see that too. Pleiades, also known as the seven sisters, are an open star cluster containing the middle age B stars. That's what they say. But at night, if you ever seen a little cluster of seven stars, I don't know if brother's seen that. They always together. They never leave. Right? And seven stars, they always group together. That's Pleiades. Issachar will look at Pleiades and Arcturus and know how they will move to be able to tell Israel what they ought to do. I got another one now.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 17. For he hath given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely to know how the world was made and the operation of the elements, the beginning, ending, and midst of times, the alterations of the turning of the sun and the change of the seasons, the circuits of the years and the positions of the stars. Right. So Solomon had all the understanding how the earth was made, right? How the sun rotates around the earth, not the opposite way around, the positioning of the stars and what they mean and how they operate on the earth, right? You know, Esau just recently said that the tides are made from the moon.
Yep.
Right? Solomon had all that wisdom.
That's right.
Thousands of years before that. Right? When Esau was still in those garrisons under subjection of Israel.
Right.
Right? The elements that was used to create the earth and what elements we're made of. Right? Imagine having all that knowledge, man. That'll blow your mind. Right? Be like, oh yeah, you're lacking zinc. Go eat eight branches of this plant and come back tomorrow.
Yeah, he could do that, man.
Yeah, that's right.
And tell you about the herbs too. I think he had knowledge of the herbs and things. It spoke in the First Kings, the 3rd chapter. He spoke of trees and beasts and different things like that, man. Right? This Job chapter 26 and verse 6. Right? Job chapter 26 and 6. Hell is naked before him, and destruction hath no covering. He stretcheth out the north over the empty place, and hangeth the earth upon nothing. So that's him speaking about the stars, man. Stretch out the north, meaning you make the expanse of the firmament, right? He's speaking about how the Lord stretched out the firmament like a curtain to cover the earth. And it speaks about gravity and the suspension of the earth, man. He hangs the earth upon nothing. So the earth doesn't have pillars. It's not on a turtle, of how heathen be saying, or it's tilted and all of that. It just suspends in the waters, right? It's hanging upon nothing. So Job knew about that. All right. There's another one in Job chapter 38 and 31. Right? And this all what the children of Issachar did. This is the opposite of observant times. Right? This is Job chapter 38 and 31. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Meaning, can you break these stars apart? Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season? Or canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons? Right? Now, we went into Pleiades and Arcturus, but you also have other things listed, Orion and Mazzaroth. All right. Now, when you look up the word Mazzaroth in the Hebrew, it goes back to the word zodiac, which just means the 12 constellations. That's what it means when you look it up in the blue letter. Let me pull that up real quick in the Hebrew. Right? The Hebrew word for that word, Mazzaroth, right, means different constellations. The 12 constellations that circuit the firmament and a respective year. All right, let me pull that up. Bear with me 1 second. And then I'm going to show you something else. All right, and this, all again, we going into this because this is what the children of Issachar went into. All right, and it's the opposite of observant times. Now, for Mazzaroth, if you have coordinates, right? We have one up there, I don't know where it's at, but that's all right. You can pull it up on your phone from the blue letter. It's H4216. Now it says Mazzaroth, the 12 signs of the zodiac, and there are 36 associated constellations. So it's the 36 constellations. All right, that's what Mazzaroth is. So that's what Job is making reference to, man. You know. All right, and the Lord actually went into that because it's the Lord getting on Job. So the Lord is even telling you about these different constellations that he made, man. And I have one more slide. This 2 Kings 23 and 5. Right? This 2 Kings 23, because the so-called white man wants you to believe things outside the scriptures. So we want to show you the truth. This 2 Kings chapter 23 and 5. And he put down the idolatrous priests, whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah, and in the places round about Jerusalem, them also that burn incense unto Baal. Right? So they burn incense to Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the hosts of heaven. Now, this word planets is not talking about Neptune, Pluto, Uranus, Jupiter, Saturn. That's not what it's talking about, right? This word planets in the Hebrew is the same word from Mazzaroth in Job 38 and 31. Means the constellations. That's all it's going into, the constellations. And Amos going to pull it up. It's the exact same word, but when they translated it, like they put Easter in Acts 12 and 4, they put planets in 2 Kings 23 and 5, because of their understanding of what was going on at the time. Right?
Yeah, it's Mazzaroth. It says constellations and signs and zodiac.
See that? So it's just going into star constellations. He wasn't worshiping Jupiter. All right. So the world wants you to believe things outside of the scriptures. We're going into how things were created, man. All right.
God.
So that's an observer of times.
Or an enchanter.
Right. An enchanter is somebody that try to seduce you with demons and spirits. When you enchant somebody or captivate them, that's what an enchanter is. They want to summon spirits too.
Or a witch.
Right. A female wizard. A witch can do anything on the left-hand side. It's not an old lady with a cauldron and a broomstick, man, flying. You seen Hogwarts, man. They show that movie around this time of the year. Right? You got little Eve that I want to be Hermione. I want to be this guy. Instead of being Rebecca and the Lord, man.
Or a charmer.
Right? That's the same thing as an enchanter.
Or a consulter with familiar spirits.
See that? How you consult with a financial advisor, you ask them for advice. What should I do with my income? Right? And tax season. Hey, a consultant would meaning they talk to demons and ask them, how can I be more wicked? How can I put a spell on this brother? What do you suggest that I do? Do I cut myself and let blood leak out? Do I do a pentagram? Right? Do I mix feces and urine? What do I do? Then these demons come to them in their dreams and they toss and they turn it and they wake up and they look and they try to figure out what to do because the demons are getting on them, huh? And you rebuke the demons, but they embrace them. Right?
Or a wizard, or a necromancer.
All right, what is necromancy? Brothers know?
Some dealing with dead bodies.
Right, you wanna revive dead bodies. Like the Witcher Endor. That's necromancy. Right? You got necrophiliacs, which is what? You in love with dead bodies. When I had this so-called job, I had this Hamite I had to deal with, man. He said when he was in the military, he had a fellow soldier that was into necrophilia. So when they used to kill the soldiers, he used to say, look, I'll catch up with y'all later. Now, was he playing Scrabble with the dead bodies? No, he was doing things to them bodies, man. He said, I do that because that's the best way to defile a man's body. Killing him is not enough. I have to do things to him afterwards to defile his body furthermore and defame him in his name. So that's madness, man. So necromancy is the reviving of dead bodies. You got some? Okay, was that 18 and what, 11?
God.
Slack here, bro. Say something.
Go ahead.
Even with the pause here for the females, they pray over them and put spirits on them.
Right.
For instance, notice the female with the pause here, their attitude they got.
Right.
That could be also why they behave like that.
There's different spirits, man. And when you're unclean, you're more prone to spirits as well. You're unclean. All right, that's why you had the removal of the unclean outside the camp. You had certain separations and quarantines that dealt with the unclean, man, because you can bring about more spirits. You have sanctification processes to make you clean, to draw you closer to the Most High. And if you are unclean, you are put away from the Most High. All right, so that was Deuteronomy chapter 18. All right, we're going to get a few more, then we're going to wind down. All right, let's go to the book of St. Mark, chapter 5 and 1. All right, let's go to St. Mark 5 and 1.
The book of Mark, chapter 5, and verse 1. And they shall come over unto the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains. The chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces, neither could any man tame him.
Right, meaning no man could to lock. This guy had supernatural strength. A demon can give you supernatural strength. Right? They make movies about that. Remember, they got that little girl in Emily Rose, she'll kick the priest, and the priest will fly against the wall. He'll try to use holy water, which is not biblical. There's no such thing as holy water. All right, unless it's the holy truth that we give you.
And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs crying and cut himself with stones.
And a lot of people that are into witchcraft and sorcery, they cut themselves, right? Because they're dealing with these demons, man. And cutting yourself is a way to draw these demons closer to you. That's why in the book of 1 Kings chapter 17, when Elijah was mocking the men and their false prophet, in order to further call upon a false god, what did these men do? They started cutting themselves, man. Well, that's 1 Kings chapter 18. And blood was gushing out. They would dance and cut themselves to conjure up these demons. That's what these emo people and these kids, you'll see them cutting themselves a lot, man. These little Edomite 13-year-olds, and they got them sleeves on and that black gothic type makeup. They got demons on them, man. They listening to that heavy metal, putting demons on them. What's it? Slither. What's that guy who makes Slytherin? One of these guys make that demonic music. I don't know the name of it, but it's like dubstep. But it's a guy that make that music that these Edomites be. You said what? I thought somebody said dubstep. No, but it's a guy. I can't think of it. It starts with an S. Screech, Skriller. Yeah, okay. That's good. That's good. Brothers don't know. But I know somebody know in a comment board. Right, brothers, you know. Yeah, they used to, man, when I was in school, man, them Edomites used to listen to that, man. There you go. Come on, brother. Come on, brother. There you go, man. Skrillex, man. They be listening to damn Skrillex, man. You know, see, everybody getting that. You got to check your spirit, man. If you know that, you know it, right? You may, in the world. Yeah, years ago, see, the old man, right? So that's good. But they listen to Skrillex and play that heavy metal and cut themselves, man. You can't be doing that, man. So that's why Legion cut himself to put more demons on him,
Verse 6, but when he saw Yahweh shall far off, he came and worshiped him and cried with a loud voice and said, what have I to do with thee, Yahweh Shai, thy son of the Most High Yahweh? I adjure thee by Yahweh that thou torment me not. For he said unto him,
right. And when it says torment me, that just means don't send me back to the spirit world, right? Because these demons get off on dwelling in your flesh. And to torment them, like to torment a parasite is to remove it from his host. All right, because if you remove the leech can't get life, can't suck blood. Remove a tapeworm, the tapeworm gonna be pissed, man. Right? You remove a tick from you, the tick's like, damn, y'all was eating good. So to remove these demons from them would torment these spirits that they would just have to be sent back to the spirit world for a certain period of time.
Salakia. Verse 8, for he said unto him, come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. And he asked him, what is thy name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many.
See that? In the legion, when you look it up, in the Roman army, they had actual legions, right? And the legion was anywhere between 6,000 to 7,200 soldiers. That's how many was in the legion. So how many demons was on this man? At most 7,200. 7,200 demons. And it could be a demon of homosexuality could have been on this guy, pedophilia, murder, lies, pride, proud, all types of spirits, man. You know, and these demons have names. You know, every spirit, everything was named by the Most High. There's nothing that wasn't named by the Lord, man.
Verse 10. And he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. Now there was that there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding, and all the devils besought him, saying, send unto us into the swine, that we may enter into them. And forthwith, when Yahushua gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. They were about 2,000, and they were choked in the sea.
See that? So about 7,200 demons, they entered into the swine. Why did the demons want to go into the swine? Because the swine is unclean. The swine has uncleanness at the most. I mean, out of any creature, the swine is one of the most unclean. They didn't say send me to the dog, send me to the sheep. That's not enough for them, man. That's not their dwelling place. They want to be in the low down, dirtiest. Put me in the swine. And why did the swine kill themselves? Anybody know? You don't think these animals know when they got spirits on them? Animals can sense things too, man. You know, an animal could kind of know when he did something. Your dog know when he went off, man. He'll have his head down. Hey, cats, they can sense when it's about to be a rainstorm, you know, an earthquake, a storm. So these animals can kind of sense these things. And these demons overwhelmed them. And they said, look, we can't deal with this, man. And all of them killed themselves.
Like how birds fly in flocks when it's about to be a storm.
Yeah, they go all crazy, man. Yeah, that's true. Birds do that, man. When it's about to be a real hurricane or something, you see these birds, they all flying and they all out of order. They chaotic, man. You know?
Yeah, what's up, man?
All right, so with that, that's the first lesson, rebuking so-called Halloween. And we'll go into the High Holy Days, most I want with the next lesson that we'll do in about a half an hour. Give or take 25 minutes to a half an hour. Most I want everybody was edified. And then we're going to take a quick about 25 to 30-minute intermission. And we'll do another live stream right after. All right. Kwam Yasha Allah. Shalom.